What's good, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video is a recording that my friend Sebastian Zielinski did, where he basically broke down all of the different stages to go from 0 to 8 figures and the team you need for that. So you can see it's a 25-minute video approximately. I just wanted to quickly record this introduction where he really breaks down step by step of the different team you need in order to reach different revenue altitudes, right? And it's super easy because we have followed this framework across dozens of brands and really understood like what do you need at what growth stage. And I think for most people while scaling, this is the most difficult question that they have in mind, right? Like, which person do I need to hire at which stage in my business? This was same for me. I mean, I'm running a team of like 35, 40 people right now with everybody involved in the organization. And that was always our main question. At what growth stage do we need which team member and to fill in which position, right? So this video is going to cover all of that for you running an e-commerce brand. So enjoy it and let me know how you liked it in the comments down below.
What's up, you guys? In this video, I want to go about how to build your 8-figure team, how to go 8 figures with your brand, or how to reach 8 figures with the leanest amount of employees possible. Because after all, we are seeing a lot of brands crushing the 8-figure mark without 8 team members. Like it's more like 6 team members for most of them. And I want to give you not only the bird's eye view, but the biggest rundown in how to go after it, because there are so many resources out there, how to hire, train, source people, how to do leadership, how to do daily meetings. But most of the people here, first of all, need the roadmap, how to go to that level. And then it's so individualized that you can't take maxims or like dogmas how to do exactly what you want to do. So I'm gonna leave some room for individualization here. And the group is exactly for that case, that once you are at a certain level and you don't know how to proceed, you're just reaching out to us so we can help you managing all of the steps here. But it's going to clear up shortly, so let's get into it. This is the life cycle of an e-com brand. We have the time axis, which is just the amount spent on your brand. And then we have the dollar axis, which is your monthly revenue level that you try to crush. And at the first stage, like 30K per month, your team should only consist of the founder, because you can't outsource something that isn't working in the first place. And if you try to outsource it, it's just asking someone else to fuck your wife, basically. And you don't want to be a cuckold. You want to be in the place where you can fuck yourself. So I mentioned in the burst of your video, to get to 30K per month, you just need one channel, one product, one Shopify store, and one creative set that you're running there most of the time. So in order to achieve that, you just need to hustle. So the first challenge is to find a product that works, of course. The first challenge is that you have to test the product, which is fairly easy if you follow a testing framework. And then you need to figure out what sells the product on the platform of your choice. For most of the people, it's either Facebook or TikTok right now. So just imagine you have a product, you have some good early metrics because you followed our testing framework, and then you want to crush the 30K per month mark. And you just need to be yourself, the founder. You should be running the ads, you should be running the testing, you should be running the creative editing on the basic form, and you should do the content sourcing based with UGC creators, shoots, doing your own content, or most of the people ripping the content and then editing it yourself. So the first level is just the founder, and maybe some buying content from creators or reaching out to creators and doing the gruesome work there, because your focus on the daily basis should be getting the content for the ad platform of your choice. Because as you see in the videos before, the media buying for 30K per month is very simple. So once you go from 30K to 50K per month, which is when everything starts to get some traction, you want to stay in your lane, run the ads, run the operations, but you want to double down on the content side. So that means that either you, because you get proficient on the content side, or someone who can help you because you're working with a lot of volume on the UGC side, want to just double down on that. And in order to do that, you either can get an VA into place to free up your time with customer support and everything else, so you can focus more on the content yourself, or you're bringing in someone who is helping you texting influencers, reaching out to them, getting deals approved with them, or like sourcing content from different platforms and stuff like that. So the first hire is just someone who allows you to double down on the stuff that works in the first place, either by freeing up your time with a VA or helping you get more juice out of your content sourcing pipeline, and you're still running the ads yourself here. So in order to get from 50K to 100K per month, this is when you try to get everything way more streamlined. And in order to do that, you want to free up your time even more. So you hire the other part of the two axes we mentioned, or you just optimize your time better, which is a big part, because we see a lot of founders who try to bring in a couple of VAs or employees at that stage and just have their profit margins suffer completely, and you don't want to do that. So you should optimize yourself first before optimizing your workflow with people, which means at the beginning of the week, plan out everything that you want to achieve the week. At the end of every day, determine what you want to work on the next day, and then have 3 to 5 hours of uninterrupted deep work on the objective that you want to accomplish every single day, which means double down on the ad platform that works, double down on the content sourcing that works, double down on the editing that works, double down on talking with your VA so you can do the customer support. Or open up a new ad channel like Google, as we mentioned in the roadmap, because once you have some traction on Facebook, you definitely want your bases covered with Google ads. So in order to achieve a lot of those topics, you don't have the money already to spend it on getting more manpower into place. So the step here is to optimize yourself for more output rather than bringing more people in. So if you optimized yourself, if you have your first very lean hire here in place, like a VA, and you are then seeing that you are bound by constraints that can't be solved by optimizing yourself, then you should think about bringing someone in who can help you with the day-to-day businesses here. And I wouldn't bring in a media buyer at that place, because the founder should be the one running the Facebook, TikTok, or Google ads at that place. So your team on the 100K per month mark basically looks like a highly optimized founder, someone who handles customer support, and finally someone who double downs with you on the content side. And that's it. So you have like 2.5 people, including yourself, at that stage. In order to get from 100K to 250 per month, this is where everything just needs to be way better on the output side. Just imagine you optimized yourself, you have your customer support in place, you have your creative process in place. You want to see where is the highest or like the biggest lever I can pull to jump from 100 to 250K per month. Most of the time, it's just cranking up the ad spend, getting more volume in there, and then optimizing your storefront, rather your employees, with the conversion optimization principles that we have in the course, getting more dollar per visitor on your store, and implement the retention marketing in order to squeeze more juice out of the traffic that you're getting. So if you have that in place and you optimized yourself in order to spend the most of time here, then you can do like an impact grading of every step that needs to be done right now. Just imagine you have pretty good metrics on the Google side and you want to spend more time there. But that means that your content flow is running short. You should think about bringing someone in who can do some quality work as an all-rounder, because at that stage you want to build up a right hand basically who's doing nearly everything that you are doing. And this is the first high quality hire here. And we really like to see bringing in a young and hungry guy who tries to be an all-rounder. In your case, he wants to learn the ropes. He wants to work with someone who is doing way more than him. And I would totally advise someone to bring in like a full stack all-rounder here. And now the question is how to get this full stack all-rounder. Our preferred method is getting into Discord groups, getting into school groups, getting into Facebook groups, talking to peers, and finding out who are the raw diamonds, like people who are way too smart for their own good, most of the time very young, hungry, maybe don't have the capital to start ecom by themselves, or have some dropshipping past, some ecom past, so they just know their stuff because you want to have someone with potential here. If you can't find someone that way, try doing job postings for like ecom managers or something. It's most of the time people who are students, people who are at university, people who are already had some successful ventures in the past, and they want something more stable. And you can go to your friends, you can go to your groups that you're in, but after all, it's just a matter of finding someone with raw potential who can basically copy what you're doing in order to double the output spent on your specific case. And what we really love to do is setting up a couple of interviews with a couple of guys, doing like a first get to know them, just feeling the vibe, because you will be spending a lot of time with this guy or like this girl, and afterwards determine if you want to proceed with this person. Once you have your first interview in place and you are satisfied with how he is thinking, how he's articulating himself, and you can imagine spending time with him, I would do a test task, like a mock task. And this test task basically is identifying what needs to be done in your company right now, like doing some competitor research, or like doing some market sophistication grading, or something like writing some copy for your ads, or making some creative briefings for influencers. And you should be giving this person the test task to do that. Because if you give them some arbitrary tasks that don't have anything to do with your day-to-day operations, you are not prolific enough in grading if it works. So you want to have something that has a very, very high similarity with the work he will be doing, and he should be then giving a couple of days to excel at the task, and then send it over to you, and you're going to do a call, which is basically a task review. And in the task review, you're shutting up and let the all-rounder explain what he did. And in order, and because why you're doing it is because you want to experience how this guy or this girl is thinking. It's not exactly the result of the task, but it's more like how he's thinking about the task that you want to get a gist of. And once you have that in place, by the way, you can multiply that by the amount of applications that you get. You want to sell him on the mission that you have with your brand, because this hire is hired for potential. He's not hired for like being a big brand and having a scorecard and having on-track earnings and stuff. This is like a pure potential play. And in order to sell someone the potential of your brand, he has to understand it, and you have some buy-in in your thesis. And in order to do that, you should articulate what you want to do with the brand, what your goals are, and what the goals and projections are for the hire. So if you articulate with him, I want to grow this brand to $1 million a month, and I want you to be the COO after all. This is like a big potential play, because you don't have the capital right now to pay him the big bucks yet. But if he sticks with you on the mission, he can earn the big bucks at a later stage. So the first hire, the first full potential hire, always is an all-rounder. And if you are at 100K per month, and you're doing all of the stuff that we're saying. You're pushing your first marketing channel to the brinks. You're implementing the second marketing channel with Google or stuff. You then optimize your backend revenue. You optimize your store. You optimize your creative process. You're optimizing your editing. You're iterating your stuff. Then you will have a lot of tasks here to optimize by 1% every single day. And you want someone who helps you optimize for the 1%, because your biggest constraint here is doing all of the tasks that you are faced with in the shortest amount of time possible with the highest probability of results. And the only way to do that is to have someone work alongside with you to implement all of the steps, because you're just stacking the 1% improvements here. How to work with this person? It's basically very simple leadership wise. You're doing a daily meeting with him in the morning. You are determining what he should be working on at the day. You are available in Slack or WhatsApp or Discord with him. And at the end of the day, you're doing an end of day review with him via text, where he tells you, this is what I did today. These are the problems that we have. This is my suggestion for the problems. This is my focus for the next day. And week by week, you want to determine what needs to be done the week. Then you're going to do a week, like an end of week review. And then you are training him basically on the problems that he's experiencing. So you're filling the gaps in his skill set as you go. And by doing that, you're just moving the needle forward way more. And once you have that in place and you're stacking up the wins, going from 100 to 250K per month with a good profit margins shouldn't be a big problem. But at that stage, you're pushing some pretty decent volume, to be honest. And by having the forcing function of the volume that you are pushing, you are then experiencing what your biggest bottlenecks are. Most of the time, it's either unit economics that are poor, it's degrading ad performance at scale, or it's not being fast enough launching new products, additional products in order to sell your existing customers more. So these problems will surface eventually. And the next hire should be solely based on fixing the constraints that you're experiencing at that level of monthly revenue. So by looking at it that way, you are definitely going to see, do I need a creative strategist who's doing very high value work on the creative side that you did at first? Is it bringing in a media buyer because managing all of the platforms is starting to get tedious and you are not in your genius zone here? So media buyer, or it's acquisition is no problem for you. You're pushing the ad spend. You enjoy being the media buyer of the company. Maybe you have your creative strategist already in place, or you brought someone in. Then it's basically bringing in a customer relationship manager who is doing very elaborate stuff on the back end, which basically would be optimizing your email flows even more, figuring out what the next product needs to be. Maybe it's launching the products with the launch processes we're giving you, or it's going into product development way more. So these are the three routes that you will face here at different stages. So for most of the brands that we work with, it's mostly always bringing a creative strategist in. It's then bringing a media buyer in, and it's then bringing a CRM manager in. But the order can totally change on the problems and bottlenecks that you're experiencing. And how do you get A players here? Because we want to work with a top-down approach, which means bringing in good people and then bringing in assistance for the people in later stage for them to perform better. A creative strategist, to be honest, the best results that we had is poaching them from agencies. It's giving them an incentive to switch, because if they worked at agencies as a creative strategist, most of the time they are overstressed and underpaid. And if you're offering them better pay, more focus and more responsibility, they are really appreciative of the opportunity they're giving them. And you're just finding them on LinkedIn or like Facebook and reaching out directly to them. For the media buyer, this is a pretty tough one if you don't have a network. So what I really enjoy doing is having people who are maybe at that stage here, like 30 to 50K per month, either with their own store or like one-man agencies or like freelancers that experience that it's tough to run a business. They want something more stable and they want to be compensated in a profit or revenue share manner. And it's basically just reaching out to them and offering them a better opportunity than they're in right now. For the CRM manager, the customer relationship guy, there aren't a lot of people who are doing that, to be honest. And what I really like to do is bringing in a copywriter who has a good understanding of customer psychology and then training him on the tools that you are using. So this is a role where you can just bring in a copywriter or like a designer and teach him the marketing stuff. It's way easier than finding a perfect fit here. So you're going to hire all of those 3 persons at some order. And once you have that in place, your unit economics work out, you're optimizing all of your brand on every inch that you can imagine, then it will be like no choice for you to go from 250 to like 500K per month or something like that, because you're just doing more of what works. And going from 500,000 a month to 1 million a month is doing business development, and this has to be done founder side. And if you want to really reach that level, the founder needs to be the master of the realm that they're serving. So you have to be a master of your niche, you need to know all the players, and you need to have a good grasp on what is working in the place, and you can't outsource that. So if you're summarizing all of that, your all-star team at the 7 to 8 figure level looks like there is the founder who at first is doing everything first because he has to learn the ropes. You then have 3 departments. You have the creative department, you have the media buying department, and you have your CRM department. And you have one good player on every instance here. You have a creative strategist, you have a media buyer, and you have a CRM manager. And then you have your all-rounder here next to you, who is basically just doubling the amount of workforce, like maybe as a COO. Then you have a creative strategist. Under him, eventually, you will have 1 to 2 editors, and 1 to 2 content managers, so they're doing maybe influencer outreach or something like that. So the creative department most of the time will be 3 people at scale. On the media buying side, you need 1 good media buyer, or at a later stage a second one, or your COO is the second media buyer. So you basically have 2 persons here, so 3 persons here. Let me do it here. 3 persons here, 2 people here, and then you will have 1 CRM manager who is responsible for back-end revenue, and you then have him manage like a VA for customer support, which is like 1.5 people here. So without the founder, you have a team of 6 to 7 people. With the founder, you have a team of 7 people, and this is enough to reach 8 figures levels. What I didn't mention here is basically product development. Product development, R&D, has to be done founder side at that stage. I wouldn't bring someone in who's doing that. But yeah, this is exactly the hiring sequence that we always see working with 8-figure brands. This is the model you should optimize for to get the most efficiency out of your business endeavor. And it's the constellation that allows you the biggest net positive cash flow in your case and have the firm run without you at a later stage. Because if you have that in place, the only thing that you need to do to sell the brand is promoting the COO to the founder role and then filling the gap that is left from the COO going to the founder role by either adding in another media buyer or adding in like another, I don't know, in order to leverage your time more, remove the founder from the daily business, and then you have a highly sellable e-com brand that can be sold for like 2 to 3 times the amount of yearly revenue, which should be the goal from anyone who's pushing numbers here. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the training. This is the exact sequence. And if you are at certain stages where you need some help with that, or need some help with the recruiting, training, and managing, just reach out to us. We are here to help in the group. Thank you very much, guys.